So 2022 was a pretty big year for me and the channel. I literally started this year out with a completely blank back, and by the end of it, I had it completely covered. I have literally from the top of my head all the way down to my lower ass cheek covered in ink. And I thought I would end this year off and the big accomplishment of me getting my whole back done by sharing with you guys some of my favorite back pieces that I've seen throughout this year. So this first tattoo that we have is insane. Now, I'm not usually a fan of mechanical tattoos, but this is just done beyond perfection in terms of how everything flows with the body part that it should be in. Like, this looks like it's part of that big muscle that runs along the body in terms of the back. You got this that looks like it's like the rhomboids. You got that shoulder blade piece that looks like it's part of the shoulder. Everything here is just so thought out that it just flows with the body part that it is in, and I am just astounded every time I look at this. Every time I look at this, I see something new in terms of like the springs at the bottom that just makes sense. This whole middle piece that looks like it's the spine. This is like a 10 out of 10 in my books, and I cannot find a single thing wrong to pick at it. So now the next tattoo that we have right here is done by Sandry Rifford, and he's probably one of my favorite artists. Everything has that little glow coming from that lantern, and everything is just done and thought out very well in terms of how it would react in reality on a skull and a real living thing. But what I also love too is on skulls and the backs, they just flow really nicely with the top of the skull flowing well with the top of the back, and then the bottom of the skull kind of narrowing out a bit, going with that more narrow of the back as well. So this is just an amazing piece. More than anything, I love the glow that he does with it. Probably one of my favorite skull back pieces out there. So the next back piece we have is done by Julian, and if you want to check out amazing pieces and more specifically back pieces or big pieces, check out this guy's work. He uses his colors very well together in terms of how this green goes so well with kind of this yellow crowning, but also then the face of this woman is not lost in any way, and it's kind of still like the focal point. But then as you continue to look at this piece even more, you don't even realize you're looking at an ass at all, as they covered it very well. As you look at this more, you just see more and more things, like with the hawk, the filigree, and I didn't even know there was a snake in this until, you know, I saw it for the third time. So everything about this piece is done very well. More than anything, I just like how well he uses his colors and how they all go together so well. Now, the next back piece we have is done by Ad Poncho, and this piece, I just remember seeing this go viral and seeing it all over the page, reposted by many different pages, and for good reason. You know, this is a very well done back piece. I love how this woman right here is the focal point of it, but it doesn't get lost with like what's going on, because it is a very busy piece. It looks like you have like this Armageddon scene going on in the back with a lot of that orange, redness, yellow, and then you have this whole bottom thing going on as well with the car and the flames, but nothing gets really lost. And what I like more than anything is like the mask that this guy did. Like, you know, it just looks very well done, along with that of the babies, and also the glistening that's happening on body. Like, it just looks like it's sweat, it looks like it's hot. Also, like the little details as well in terms of, you know, this bloody footprint of the baby on her chest, and then just the blood running down the baby, the foot. Everything is well done, and I can definitely see why this tattoo went viral for many reasons. Now, this next one is another crazy color back piece, and I hope you aren't getting too sick and tired of seeing them, but this is another one that just takes it to new extremes in terms of, like, you know, you have this whale being like the main focal point of the back piece, but everything around it complements it very well without being over, like, kind of it overtaking the whale in itself. You have the planetary system and the whole space aspect. The colors that he uses too in this space are just awesome. But what I like more than anything is like how he uses the contrast between the whale and then uses like this orange or yellow flame that kind of goes around the whole thing, and then also gives it kind of this dimensional aspect to it. Just applause. This is probably one of my top favorite ones as well. Now, this next one is done by an artist that I'm not going to be able to pronounce the name just because I don't want to F it up. But this is just, as we can see, it says it's free-handed. And when you look at this, you're like, how the hell is this free-handed? This is just so well done. What I like about this piece is just, you know, it has a good sense of depth to it. It gives it like a 3D look right here, as we can see on like the bridge of like the shoulder. But then you have the dragon being like the main centerpiece. It's done so well. And then as you zoom in more, you see these little cracked areas, and it's just, you don't think that this is done freehanded in terms of all those little details that he was able to incorporate. And then the scaling too of this, just bravo. Now we have another dinosaur, and this is actually done by one of my favorite color artists out there. His name is Ilya, and just look at this tattoo and tell me this isn't amazing in terms of everything that he was able to do. The greenery in the back, and then you have the volcano exploding, and all the colors that are just so rich there. But also, it doesn't take away from now the main character, and that is obviously the raptor, and that is more importantly Blue, if you guys go ahead and watch Jurassic World. What I love about this piece is how he was able to incorporate a whole raptor on the back. Like, this is what me and Brendan tried to do, and we really couldn't get it down right. And then giving it that 3D look of having it coming around that Triceratops head or skull. Just everything is done so well in this, and it just doesn't take away from the raptor and overpowering the colors that are around it. Honestly, one of my favorite dinosaur back pieces that I have seen out there. So now this next back piece that I'm going to show you is something that I guarantee you've never seen before, and honestly, I want to see more of this because it's just done so amazing. Your eye doesn't really know where to look. Does it look at like the middle right here? Does it look at the corner? Does it look at this corner? Does it look kind of like at the lower part? Like, there's just so much to look at and so much to take in. And I like how he does a good job in terms of using like kind of that negative space to draw your eye in with like kind of like these grapes, these leaves right here. And then having like that middle of the back being like kind of like a very solid black. It gives it kind of like a good depth to it. And then also just look in, just zoom in right here. Look at this leaf. Look how much details in that little leaf right there. Look how much details in this little leaf right here. Everything is super detailed. And you just really got to zoom in to really appreciate this back piece. Now this next artist is Tu Den, but I really want you guys to go ahead and check out this guy's work because it's very unique, it's very different from anything else you're going to see out there. Because like if you really zoom in, look at all the details that you were able to see. Especially if you really zoom in, all those little things that you see going on took time and attention to detail. And then also when you look at it too, he does a good use of colors in terms of like this explosion happening. And then as you look at it more, you get to see like this hand come into play where it's sitting down, which you really didn't think it was doing. The amount of detail that went into this, I guarantee you, is incredible in terms of the hours that this guy needed to do all this. Now this next one was one I actually found on TikTok, and I saw the whole progress of this guy get it done, and it was absolutely astounding. Like, this is an Anubis piece, but what I love about this is how he was able, and the artist was able to kind of bring your attention to like the face by using like the sarcophagus, like the head gasket, and then the face being the focal point there, and then everything else being subtly kind of like drawing you in. Is very good use of terms of using the bottom as well, the hands being like that secondary piece. But overall, a great Anubis piece, and you know, probably one of the best Anubis back pieces that I've seen yet. Now this next one is one that I couldn't find the artist to, but I saved it just because it is a very good example of using a very popular design that a lot of people do for the back. Like, a lot of people like to get the animals on the back, tigers, lions, and also skulls too. This is a very good example of that. You got the skull at the bottom that kind of takes up that lower portion of the back. But then as you get up to the top of the main focal point, you got that lion or that tiger that is right there. And it's very well in terms of the detail, the whiskers, the eyes. The only thing I'm not crazy about is this top piece right here. But that looks like it was probably there beforehand and they kind of went around it. I like the depth they use in terms of the leaves, kind of adding just an extra little bit of like depth to it. In terms of it kind of coming out at you. If you are somebody that is looking into getting something like this in terms of an animal, skull, this is definitely something you should draw inspiration from. So this next back piece is one that I absolutely love for many reasons. It's different, it's unique, it's something you don't really ever see too much of. And what I like about it is, like, you know, it gives it this glowing effect that kind of feels like, you know, you're looking at like a lantern glow from the inside and then it's popping through. While also, you know, I like how they keep it to like, you know, anatomic, like you have like the spine going, but then you have like a different take on kind of like a rib cage and kind of flowing with like the back and everything. It's very well done. But more than anything, it's the color that gets you on this piece. Again, it just makes it feel like a lantern is glowing in your body and it's just shining through. Now, I want you to go in the comment section right now and let me know which one was your favorite before I kind of go ahead and tell you mine. But there were two that it was so hard for me to choose from. The first one being that biomechanical back piece. It's just so well done in terms of how it flows with every body part. A lot of thought process went into this in terms of every little area and how the muscles would kind of interact and how kind of a gear or kind of a spring would interact with it as well. And then also the second one I really had a tough time choosing between was the Julian one with that woman and then just all the colors going around it. When I look at this, I don't look at it as like an ass, a back. I just look at it as one full, beautiful piece of art. But the one I think I am going to choose for my favorite is going to be the biomechanical. And it's funny for me to say that just because I'm not a big fan of biomechanical, but this just makes me appreciate it in such a different way. And I can't wait to see how this is going to continue because from what it looks like, there's a lot more that's going to be added on. And I cannot wait to see the rest of it. Go ahead, hit that little red button that says subscribe. Join the community. You do not want to miss all my tattoos that I have coming for the new year. I will be releasing my hand tattoo very soon. That's right, I have it done already. I just have it under the glove. You didn't think I was wearing a glove just to wear it, did you? But more importantly, for 2023, I have a big project in terms of getting my whole chest blasted. and you're going to want to be here for that because I have a lot of things that I will be doing differently for that, and you're definitely going to be shocked by what I do. Like always, Justin out. Later, guys.